Hello, guys. You cannot see me yet, but you'll see me soon enough. Yes, I should be out there, visible to you. Hello, Lazar. Hello, Yatsa. Hello, Dayan. Welcome to the stream. How's everyone doing today? Let me try and... Oops, this is too loud. I need to turn down the volume on my other device. So let me share the screen with you. And which one should it be? It's... Well, neither of the ones that I have open. What happened? I think I accidentally closed the window that I was supposed to share. My bad, guys. My bad. Just give me a moment and we'll be back to it. In fact, let me walk you through the process. At least you can see something. So, nope, not that one. Huh. It just so might be that I'm not able to share the screen with you. Wait a second. If I close these, can I share it now? Yes, I can. There we go. You can now see my screen. So we have to solve this to prove that we're not a robot. So let's click on some bicycles. I truly do hate these modern CAPTCHAs. They're really, really annoying. Okay, so this is Reddit. For those of you who don't know, it's one of the largest forum-like websites that survive to this day. Its catchphrase is the front page of the world, and its biggest characteristic is that you can really find anything on here. You have so-called subreddits that are dedicated to each specific interest, region, topic. There's really everything. I mean, on the right, you can see no stupid questions, a subreddit dedicated to people asking questions that would usually be considered stupid. You have Minecraft for those who love the so-called video game. You have r/fitness, r/D&D. I'm not even sure what that is. r/videos, and then some of the subreddits recommended to me based on my IP address, which are Ask Serbia, a subreddit where you just ask questions and get answers from people living in Serbia, and then a more general R Serbia for news and so on. The subreddit we're going to visit today primarily is this one. I believe that is the one I was going for. Yes. No, pardon, not that one. Am I the... Yeah, this one. Okay, I think it was the correct one. This stands for Am I the asshole? And then I'm not sure why H. Like, I guess AH is asshole. And there was one story I was interested in. But I can't find it now. It was about a lease. It was about a lease. Is it on here or is it now gone? I hope it is still here. Oh, but it might be gone. Okay, then we'll find another story. Don't worry, guys. But there was a really interesting one that I was looking forward to analyzing. Welcome, Jada. How are you feeling today, Jada? Is everything all right over there in Turkey? Hmm. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Why not? It sounds like a controversial topic, and that's what we like to see. We like to see topics that can invoke some discussion, some disagreements. We want to see that more than anything else. Uh, bu- 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 Hello, Parveen. Welcome. Hello, Khalid. Welcome to the stream. I'm not playing GeoGuessr tonight. I'm on Reddit, but it's still a niche topic. So I'm sure you guys can enjoy this if disgusting is your cup of tea, because we have the title. I guess the top left part is slightly covered by my video, but it's okay. I'll read and you'll see what the post is about. So, am I the asshole? That is what Mr. Airport Prestigious, that is the name of this user, is asking. And the situation is, if I throw away a box of inherited photos and clippings. Now let's explain what these mean. I'm curious to know if you guys in the chat understand the title or not. In case you don't understand, I will explain. Good evening, Radict. Now you're fine. Just wanted to say hi. Yes, it's a pleasure to have you here, man. Hello back to you. And I hope to see you when I play GeoGuessr. I'm gonna need your help. Were you here last time I streamed? I can't remember. You were here the first time I played, but were you here the second time? Because there was one situation with a police car behind me, and I correctly answered that it was Nigeria. All thanks to the tip you and the other guy gave me that first night. So I am getting better. I just wanted to say that. Now back to our topic. So throw away means to dispose of something, to remove it from the premise of your house. So this person wants to throw something into the garbage. And what do they want to throw? A box. We all know, we can imagine what the box is. So inherited photos and clippings. Now, the two problematic words here might be inherited and clippings. I'll explain them right away. Yeah. It was really good. I'll play it again. I mean, I don't have a particular schedule. I just do whatever I feel like doing in the evening to try and help people have some English input. But I'll try to play maybe tomorrow night. Let's say tomorrow night. Stop by, and chances are I'll be looking at some obscure place in Sweden or something along the lines of that. I got something to share. We are like budding pots waiting to blossom, and you are the one nurturing us with seeds of knowledge. Wow, Parveen. I mean, that is so beautiful. You really have a gift for poetry, man. Incredible. W's in the chat for Parveen and for his writing skills. I'm genuinely touched. I don't know what else to say. That is so beautiful, and I'm really trying to be that force that pushes you forward and allows you to further develop your skills to help your English blossom. And let's do just that. So, inherit. I don't know if you guys in the chat know what inherit means, but inherit is getting something from a person who lived before you. So inherit, it's a verb. Inheritance is the noun. But to inherit, to receive something from a person who lived before you. So you can inherit many things. You can inherit objects. In this case, this person has inherited a box with photos. You could also inherit certain characteristics, like your eye color. You inherit that from your parents. And you can also inherit clippings. Now, what are clippings? Clippings in this case are those pieces of newspaper that, especially back in the day, people would tear from newspapers and keep in their boxes. I can show you a picture, guys. So these are some clippings you can see like this. So maybe you're a football fan and during the World Cup, you just clip a piece of old newspapers, that sort of stuff. So you can cut them out or tear them out. The point is, those are the clippings. We don't really see that these days as everything is digitalized. What about you guys in the chat? Do you have any clippings? I am curious to know that. I think my only clippings came when I was 6 or 7 years old. I didn't used to have a computer back then, so I had to improvise and just keep pieces of my favorite athletes in the form of clippings. That's what I used to do. But yeah, these days you're more likely to clip something in the sense of just downloading a video and then separating it into shorter pieces. That's what kids these days. Yeah, it's a shame, Radek. You are too new to the world. How old are you, Khalid? I participated once in a poetry competition in my school when I was 14 years old, and I got the second position, the second place. Parveen, that is not shocking, honestly. The shocking part is you didn't win. That is the only shocking part. But being second is a great success and well deserved. So clippings, pieces of newspaper kept as a souvenir. As a souvenir, as a memory. Let's put it that way. So you can put them in a box. I'm 19. How about you? Ah, but you're not that young. I thought you were younger. I'm 26, which sounds scary when I say it like that. I feel much closer to your age than to being 30, and yet I'm definitely closer to 30 than to 19. But it's still good. So if you're 19, that means you grew up playing Fortnite and PUBG. I think those were your games growing up. Am I right? Going back to the story, guys. Sorry for digressing, but I love talking to people. What can I do? I can't help it. When you feel like you can't stop doing something, you can say, I can't help it. I can't help it. Used to say you can't stop yourself from doing something. So I can't help it. I love talking to people. Hello, Miriam. Welcome. Long time no see. How are you feeling today? Let's analyze this text together. So I inherited a box of old photos from an in-law. Who is or what is an in-law? An in-law is a person you are related to through marriage. So a person you are related. So any person, in fact, any person you are related to through marriage. Where is Magdalena? That is a big question. I'm not sure where she is. I assume she's busy working at the office. There are days when she has to go to the office. This just might be one of those days. But we still do hope she joins us later on. Fingers crossed. Any person you're related through marriage, for example, your partner's father, let's say. So that would be your father-in-law. You have your sister-in-law, your brother-in-law. So any of those people could be an in-law, or in plural, the in-laws. I did not play. I did not. LOL. My games were a little bit more niche. Growtopia and Pixel Gun. Some Minecraft too. Well, Minecraft was something I played as well. Growtopia and Pixel Gun. They ring a bell. Could you tell me a bit more about them, especially the former one? Growtopia. Sounds interesting. So I inherited a box. Remember, inherit, you get it from a person who lived before. I inherited a box of old photos from an in-law who passed away 10 years ago. Pass away, die. So they could have said from a late in-law. Late in-law would mean a person is no longer alive. But they chose to use a simpler structure. An in-law who passed away about 10 years ago, and whose is the word that denotes belonging. So whose husband means it was the husband of this person. So it was most likely their mother-in-law, I suppose. Whose husband? It's important to distinguish between this whose, WHOSE, which denotes possession, belonging, and whose, which is WHO apostrophe S, which is simply a contraction for who is. So keep that in mind. This is whose belonging. Whose husband passed away about 50 years ago. So they are all, unfortunately, up in the sky, not with us anymore. Okay. They never had children of their own. The photos, etc., are most definitely of his family. So the photos belong to the late husband's family. That is what you have to remember. I barely knew her. Barely means just a tiny bit. Almost not at all. Barely. Only a little bit. Almost not at all. So when they say they barely knew them, it's like, yeah, I basically didn't know them. I just knew them superficially. I'm 20 years old. So I am 20 years old. If you want to use year without S, it would have to be in the noun form. I am a 20-year-old. Or as an adjective, I am a 20-year-old student. But when just introducing your age, use the plural of years. So I am 20 years old, and I never really got interested into games, probably because I can't get my head around it. I know, Parveen, you are a chess only guy. Chess is the only game you like, but it's pretty much the best one out there. Hello, Mr. KitKat, or should I say Saad? How are things going over there in Saudi Arabia? Search them up, you might recognize it. Don't think it was famous in the Balkans, though. I don't know. You'd have to ask kids your age. I mean, kids your age. I don't want to sound condescending. You should ask people your age. Growtopia. And no, no, no. Don't think I've ever seen this. And what's the other one? Pixel Gun? Perhaps I know that one. Pixel Gun. Nope. Nope. Nah. This is a little bit after my time, you know? I used to play some other games. But to each their own. Going back to the story, I barely knew her. So their in-law. And obviously never met him. The man passed away 50 years ago. The in-law passed away 10 years ago, so there was no opportunity to meet the man. I got the box because I am the one in the family with the most interest in documenting the family tree. So documenting as a verb is compiling the data, the information, and creating some resources, some database from which people could later discover their ancestry, like in the case of the family tree. So it's a cool concept. I mean, my family doesn't have its own family tree, and I think it's a shame because knowing who your great grandfather was is a nice thing. I mean, they are your ancestors. You're here because of them. So it is a nice thing, I'd say. Everything's good. I am glad to hear that. That is good news. What about the temperatures, though? I'd imagine it is really hot nowadays over there. Isn't it sad? I inherited curiosity from my cousins in order to learn something new. Curiosity killed the cat. I am sure you know that idiom, Parveen, but jokes aside, being curious is good. So keep searching for knowledge. Where were we? I got the box. Yeah, documenting the family tree. I picked out a few photos. So to pick out is to select. So this person selected a few photos of the couple, so the man and the woman, but I don't want everything and no one else on our side is interested. So their side of the family. Obviously, that person had the other side of the family, maybe some other children, but nobody on on the OP. OP stands for original poster, the person who created the topic. So nobody from the OP's side is interested in those photos. I did a deep dive and found one of his elderly relatives, people who are related. Again, an in law somehow. I suppose it is their in law. And she agreed to take a small envelope full of photos. An envelope is that object in which you usually put letters. So if you go to the post, you're going to see many envelopes. Envelope. Yes, that's an example of an envelope. So remember, guys, the envelope. The object in which you put letters and write address on. So that is an envelope, guys. Clippings. I'm sure most of the people watching don't have any clippings. We have already concluded that. But yes, this elderly relative agreed to, so they said, yes, let's do it. A small envelope full of photos. So they just filled the envelope with pictures, but that person refused the rest. So there are still many pictures out there that need a new owner. Said she was almost blind and wouldn't be able to make out the photos and would trash it all if I sent more to her. Okay, I mean, that's a bit harsh, my gosh. But yeah, the lady said she was almost blind. You can see how this is not the best writing. If I were the person in charge of correcting, I would probably give her negative points because it should be she said she was almost blind, but in spoken language, you would probably omit the first subject and just start with said. So it is an example of how spoken language doesn't look so nice when written down. Said she was almost blind, unable to see. I think most of you know that, but let's just make sure. Blind, unable to see. So no eyesight. That is blind. And wouldn't be able to make out the photos. To make out the photos, I believe make out in this context means she wouldn't be able to tell who the people were in the photos. So she wouldn't be able to see who is actually in the photos. Like it would be pointless to look at them if you don't even know who's on them. So make out to understand what is written or who is in a picture. So she couldn't make out the photos and would trash it all if I sent more to her. Okay, so the lady threatened the original poster with trashing, so throwing away all the pictures if the OP were to send her more. Can't blame her. Again, omitted the subject. I can't blame her. She had to be close to 90 herself, and I'm sure she didn't want more stuff. Stuff, a general word for things. Blame someone means to say, you are guilty, you are the bad guy. Basically, this topic, am I the asshole, is asking whether this person should take the blame, whether they deserve the blame or not. So whether we should say, you are the bad guy or not. So that is, can't blame her. Yeah, I can't say she did anything wrong. She had to be close to 90 herself. So she was already close to the age of 90, and she didn't want more stuff because who wants such pictures? I sent the envelope and gave her my contact info, and she said, remember it's not said, but a short eh. She said she would try to get in touch with other family members to see who would want these. Never heard back from anyone. That was to be expected. So essentially, this 90-year-old lady says, send me a small envelope of pictures and I'll get in touch. To get in touch means to contact. Get in touch. To contact. To contact someone. So let's get in touch. If I say, guys, let's get in touch, I'm basically saying, guys, send me a message. Let's exchange our contact info. Let's start talking. So the lady said she would try and contact other family members, but no, she didn't do that. And in fact, the original poster never heard back from anyone, so nobody responded. Temperature is a problem here. We stay home during the day. AC is a way of living here. More or less same here. I mean, if I don't turn on my air conditioning, I'd be struggling. I can't say that it is absolutely necessary and that we couldn't live without it, but it makes life so much more comfortable. If there was a comfort scale from 1 to 10, life without an AC in Serbia during summer months, especially July and August, it would be a 3. And with the air conditioning, I mean, it's a 9, basically. Magdalena, welcome. We had people asking about you, wondering where you were. You are such an integral part of the community that people are worried when they don't see you from the very start. So glad to have you here. What was the reason of you arriving late? I suppose there was a meeting at the company. 99 point that's oddly specific. 99.04%. So was that the official statistic, or did you just happen to write it that way? Because that 04 is really intriguing. I go to sleep at 10 a.m. because it's really hot. Go to sleep at 10 a.m. Wait a second. I don't think you go to sleep at 10 a.m. I think you go to sleep at 10 p.m. because it's really hot, but the AC is doing a great job though. Yes, W's for the AC. But 10 a.m. is the morning. So that would mean you go to sleep 2 hours before noon, which is unlikely. I believe you meant to say 10 p.m., so 2 hours before midnight. I like to keep all my Rockies in my collection box. which is all the brother usually get from their sister on, oh, I can't pronounce that word, and they are really sentimental. What is that, Parveen? What is Rakshaband? I'm sorry for butchering the pronunciation, but it is hard to pronounce. Tell us more about it, Parveen. I'm really curious. I was in a meeting. I thought so, Magdalena. Glad to have you here, though. We are covering a story from a real English speaker about whether they were right or wrong, or actually whether they would be wrong to throw away a box of inherited photos and clippings. Clippings, in case you don't know, are those little pieces of the newspapers that people would cut out in the past and keep as a memory, especially if they were about some special events and so on. 10 a.m. Please elaborate, Saad. I don't get it. You go to sleep at 10 a.m. So when do you wake up? I mean, your story is more intriguing than the story we're reading. You need to do one of these AMAs. But back to the story, guys. I did another search a couple of years later and located three direct descendants. Descendants are the opposite of ancestors. So ancestors are the people who lived before you, and then descendants are the people who lived after you. So descendants, the people who live after others. For example, grandchildren are the descendants of their grandparents. So, of course, this goes a long way back and long way in the future, hypothetically. So, we are all descendants of people who lived 1,000 years ago, and those people who lived 1,000 years ago are our ancestors. We have a discussion about how people in Saudi Arabia sleep. That is an interesting one. I'll let you guys chat and I'll join later. Let's go back to the story. So, three direct descendants in my area. So, basically, this person searched a couple of years later. So, they've been keeping the box with photos and clippings for multiple years, which is already commendable. It is already something worth of admiration because they did not just immediately dump that. They did not immediately throw it away. They kept something with sentimental value for a while. And they were able to locate three direct descendants. So that means they located people who are directly related to the late person. So, for example, maybe they were able to find their grandchildren, for example. And those grandchildren, those descendants, live in the original posters area. I was able to track down some good contact info online, which is scary, guys. It's so easy to find people these days. Literally, like you just type somebody's name and surname in Google, and maybe you add LinkedIn or you add their uh, hometown name, something like that, you're very likely to find their picture among all the Google images. So I'm not surprised by this. But yes, to track down is to find someone. Track down to find someone after a search. We will usually use track down for criminals. The police track down guys who are running away, but we can also track down some people who are descendants of those who give us boxes. I forgot it's my birthday, lol. I'm now 16. Amazing, Sad. Happy birthday to you, man. Uh, Big W's in the chat for our newly turned 16-year-old, and a happy birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sod. Happy birthday to you. Woo! That was as hype as I could be. I hope you enjoyed it, Sod. Uh, the festival is for brothers and sisters. 28th of August, sisters tie a thread on their brother's wrist, and brothers give gifts and promise to be with them in good or bad. Wow, that is so beautiful. I love that tradition, Parveen. We need something like that in other countries too. I'm serious, because that sort of bond and the promise you make during that moment, it holds a lot of weight. I think that it forces any brother to take an even better care of his sister later on during life. Going back to the story, guys, we celebrated Saad's birthday, but now it's time to get back to work, track down some good contact info online. One never responded, so one of the people never came back. One said she didn't want any of it. Fair enough. One replied she was interested and would reach out again to set a time to meet. So reach out is uh, contacting someone. So reach out is contact someone. So reach out, contact someone to set a time to meet me at a neutral location to take the box. She never did, and when I tried her again, she didn't respond. Okay, I think this was not hard to understand. What would you do? Guys, here is a question for you. If somebody, a stranger, so a stranger is a person you don't know. If a stranger contacted you online and asked you to take photos of your late grandfather or great grandfather, whom you perhaps never met, what would you say? How would you respond? Would you go route one, never respond at all, simply say you don't want any of it, or then perhaps try to arrange a meeting? However, the final person never did and never responded when the original poster tried to contact her again. So the box contains photos as old as the 1860s. Damn. How old were those people? I guess a lot of the pictures are also from that late person's ancestors. So we're not only talking about pictures from their era. We're talking about pictures of their parents and grandparents. There are some military photos that I think are from the Korean War. There are greeting cards and telegrams, newspaper clippings about engagements and weddings, and obituary. Obituary. How do I pronounce this one? I know what it means. Those are the things that are published in newspapers when somebody passes away. So when somebody dies, it includes their picture, the birth year, the year they passed away, and usually a short message from whoever issued this one. But let's check the pronunciation. Arbitrary pronunciation. I don't want to get it wrong for you guys. No British.
Obituary.
Obituary. Obituary. Okay. So obituary notices. Obituary. 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 A post in the newspapers with a picture of a person who recently died and a message by the person or message from the person who ordered the obituary. I will never ever do that. I will say it's none of your business. But that is a little bit too harsh. Very direct. Oh my god. Quite direct, but it's fair. It's honest. It's honest. I think that is better than saying, "Oh, let's arrange a meeting," and then never responding. But Radek would like to meet other people from the family. That is nice, Radek. You are a good man. It is nice just getting to know others, especially if you are related, if they are your relatives. I would meet with other people from my family. Yeah, other peoples. Well, other people without the S. I am that kind of person, not people, that kind of person. There is no right or wrong, you know? We are all different. Honestly speaking, I'm more of a person that would say, "Oh, let's get in touch. Let's see what I could do." And then I don't think I would completely ghost them. I don't think I would completely ignore their messages later on, but I would probably find an excuse not to take any pictures. Like, honestly, that's who I am because I try not to offend people. I try not to make them feel bad, but at the same time, if I genuinely don't need those pictures, if I don't have any space for them, why would I take them? But yes, obituary. Obituary, a post in the newspapers with a picture of a person who recently died and a message from the person who ordered it. So those are obituaries. Of course, I can show you guys a picture as well. Obituary. This is an example. No, not these. Obituary newspaper. Yeah, like this kind of stuff. You have the picture and then a message. Some of those are quite long, some of them are shorter, but those are obituaries. Not something particularly nice, but at the same time, it is a sign of respect. If you get an obituary, somebody cared about you. So it is still positive. Engagements, much more positive, a much happier ordeal. That is one step before getting married. So that is when a man proposes to his partner. Baptism certificates, baptismal certificates. Baptism is the Christian ceremony when a baby is officially introduced to the church. When a not a baby, usually a baby, but you could get baptized later on in life. It is the ceremony of becoming Christian, essentially. And usually churches issue certificates confirming that you have indeed undergone baptism and you are officially a Christian. High school certificates, and there's even a tin with an old reel of somebody's wedding. A tin? I mean, tin is British English. We would use can in American English unless it is another word that I'm not familiar of. Tin meaning. Okay, it can be a chemical element, but other than that, yeah, I mean, it's a can, basically. It's not gonna be anything else. So there was a can with an old reel of somebody's wedding, and reel is not an Instagram reel like people would assume nowadays. Reels are actually those old, what how would I define them? The long threads of movie clips. I can much better explain with a picture. So reel movie reel like this. This is a movie reel. So you can imagine there was a can, so an aluminum container with this, the reel inside. That's why Instagram reels are called that, because essentially every time you scroll, you are looking at a new reel. So there was a wedding reel in one of the cans. This is a reel. Remember that. That's how we got to Instagram reels. I've had this box 10 years now and even brought it with me when we moved into a new home. It's a large box. I've kept it this long because I don't have anything like this from my family, and I can't help but think that somebody at some point from his family will want this. Fair enough. I mean, I think the original poster is a good person. They don't want to throw away something that would be permanently lost, and instead they just choose to keep the box for 10 years, even though it occupies plenty of space. And they even moved into a new home. Amazing. So they do deserve respect for taking such good care of somebody's memories, but they are wondering, so would they be the asshole? Would they be the bad person if they threw it all away? If they were to dump it into the trash? Or should I try again to find someone to take this? I'm interested to know what other people would do. Thanks in advance. Guys, if you have any questions about the words here, let me know. I try to explain most of the ambiguous ones that I felt like you might struggle with. Again, tin is a can, that round container, circular container. Old reel, so it is the old movie tape, and somebody's wedding. Somebody was getting married. We explained that. Obituaries, I showed you what that was. Descendants, ancestors, inherited clippings, so on. I remember these tins with a movie reel. Really, Radek? Well, I can't say I've ever seen one in my life. I just knew that from learning English, going through different topics. I picked up on movie reels and what they meant. So that's how I was able to understand what this person was talking about. But I think that, movie reels are so amazing. I remember the old camera reels. You know how cameras back in the day used to have those physical reels that you would have to take to a shop, and then people could actually give you copies of those photos? I do remember those. That was the trending technology when I was 5 or 6 years old. I'm quite old. No, no, no. You are just experienced, Radek. You are just experienced. My father worked in a cinema. He used to work with those tins. Perfect. So you guys are actually very familiar with what is going on. But guys, a question for you. The key question of this lesson. What would you do if you had the box? We previously had or I previously asked the question, what you would do if you were contacted by a stranger with a similar request, but now put yourself in the shoes of the original poster. Imagine you've been keeping a box for 10 years. What would you do? Let's hear it from you guys. I'm curious to know. I'm also curious to know what people would say. Or actually, after you answer this, I'll ask you another question. But first, tell me what you would do in this situation. Would you throw everything away or would you keep it? Personally, I believe I'd probably keep it. I'd probably keep it. The thing is, I'm not sure if I'd take it with me when moving. I think moving into a new home would be a good opportunity to just get rid of the box under the pretext of not having any space in the new home. But uh, realistically, okay, just looking at my current position, I come from a village, and in that village we have a shack, so a place where we keep like a shed, to say so. We have a shed where we keep the tools and a bunch of other things. It just functions as a warehouse, basically. It's just a storage unit. So I believe I would just dump the box there, even if it meant mice eating through the pictures. I would just put it there and not have to deal with that sort of pressure of knowing I threw away someone's life, the memories of someone's life. It wouldn't be the best thing to do, as I would consciously be exposing those memories to mice and forces of nature. But I think that is the compromise I'd make. So just store it somewhere away from my eyes, and if anyone reaches out, yeah, then we can talk and perhaps take it out of the shed. If I had this box, I would open a bank account. I would keep it. Okay, so Radek, you care about memories. My way or the highway means either listen to me or go away. That's a good one. Haven't heard of it before, Parveen. Nice one. If I had the box, I would keep it. You are all good people, guys. I mean, that is the next question. Would this person be the asshole if they threw it all away? Let's talk about that. Because I said you're good people. That implies, that sounds like those who would throw the box away are bad. But is it really the case? Let's analyze that part. So would this person, the original poster, be an asshole, be a bad person if they just took the box and just threw it into the garbage? I can give you my impressions again. I definitely don't think they would be an asshole. Like, no way. They had the box for 10 years. They kept it safe. Did everything in their power to get in touch with descendants. I dare to say 85% of the people in the world right now wouldn't do as much as this person did. So I believe that they definitely are not the bad guys in this story. They don't have a soul. No, Radek, that is too harsh. Oh my god. No, I disagree with you, Radek. I think that people have their own lives, and yes, that box carries a lot of memories, but again, they are not their memories. Yes, it would be kind of them to keep the memory alive, but at the same time, they're not even directly related to those people. So it was an elderly, a relative, it was an in law who passed away 10 years ago. And then most of the photos are of that person's husband who's been dead for half a century. So for all those reasons, I cannot really blame them. But we are here to discuss. I appreciate the input, Radek. Let's see what the people in the comments are saying, and then we're gonna call it a day. The number one suggestion is local history museum or local genealogical society. Wow, that's beautiful. Genealogy is, I guess, the study of origins, the study of family trees. That is a nice suggestion. So instead of throwing it away, you can donate something like that because it is valuable. It contains pictures from 2 centuries ago, from the 19th century. That is quite amazing. If someone disagrees with you, so someone disagrees, S at the end, because someone is singular grammatically. If someone disagrees with you, that doesn't mean he's a bad person. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So I agree with that. But that is hard for people to understand. Unfortunately, humans don't like those who don't think alike, who don't think the same. That's why we have many fights, a lot of violence, and ultimately wars, because people don't want to find compromise. They don't want to meet halfway. They all believe their way is the right way, and that creates chaos when two people, you have two. There is one bridge, just a single log, and if there are two bulls trying to cross, unless one of them steps back and allows the other to cross, they're just gonna collide, and one of them is gonna end up falling down, or both of them might fall. So that is unfortunately the state of our society. Um, if you said the opposite, they take you as the evil. Exactly. Exactly. That is the harsh reality. Maybe this person doesn't have attachment with things. Yeah, they don't. Like I said, they are not directly related to the person. If it were their grandfather and pictures of their great grandparents, I think they would not even doubt keeping the box. But those are essentially just strangers to them. They can think that is garbage instead of good memories. I mean, to an extent, one man's garbage is another man's treasure. That is a good expression. One man's garbage is another man's treasure. If we keep something like memories by holding them, and if they get lost, I think it's not going to be the end of the world. It is true too. I mean, it is sad to think about it, but life moves on, world moves on, and in a way, it is also a relief. Like no matter what we do now, eventually people are gonna forget about us. So we might as well live our lives to the fullest and enjoy it while it lasts. Like it's a scary thought, but a liberating thought at the same moment. What are some other suggestions? Everybody is saying a museum. Everybody's proposing a museum, a library. You tried a lot more than most people would. I agree. But instead of tossing it, So to toss something is to throw. So instead of tossing it, take it all to a museum or a local antique store. So this is pronounced antique. Antique store. A lot of people collect old photos, and the ones from the war would particularly interest people. At least an antique store, at least an antique store, huh, that's a strange one. At least an antique store would end up okay. At least in they missed. You see, native speakers make mistakes too. At least in an antique store, they would end up with collectors who would find value in them or find ways to use them. Absolutely. Not the asshole, obviously, but almost will be if you throw in trash. So this person is saying, okay, the original poster is not the asshole, but you could be an asshole if you throw it away in trash. Put it on eBay, you might be surprised what is that? What is that term? They put it in quotations. Lasting for a very short time.
Ephemeral.
Ephemeral. Okay, a new word, guys. Ephemeral. Ephemeral. So lasting only a day. Adjective that means lasting for a very short time. Ephemeral. There we go. Something new. Ephemeral. Something that lasts only for a short time. Ephemeral. Perfect. So ephemeral. Ephemeral lot will get. Okay, like it's something that is not popular on the website, and it is likely to be sold quickly. So that's what makes it ephemeral. And lot is a collection of something. So ephemeral lot, especially with the military stuff and 1860s. Absolutely. If we keep some, Buddhist philosophy teaches non-attachment. I didn't know that. Oh, I don't think I could be Buddhist then. I'm very sentimental. Like, I spoke about the box and I said I most likely would not keep it, or I would just put it away somewhere in a shed and forget about it. But when it comes to my actual memories, so my childhood pictures or pictures of my parents, grandparents, I am very sentimental. I'm very attached to them. My childhood toys, I'm very attached to them. I still keep them all in one room in my house. So yeah, non-attachment is not for me. Hello, Greg. Oh, Greg, you are late to the party. We read through the whole situation. Long story short, a person inherited a box with many memories, many old pictures, but those pictures are of some in-laws. So people who are not directly related to the person. And to make matters worse, the person who is primarily found in the pictures, the person who is in most pictures, passed away 50 years ago. So they never met him. That's why they don't feel any connection to the box, and they are wondering if they should throw the box away because they've been keeping it for over 10 years. And now we are just reading the answers of people in the comments. Most have suggested history museums, similar societies, antique shops, and yeah, donating, selling on eBay. Nobody is calling them an asshole though. So essentially, people are understanding in the comments. If non-attachment means what I think, that would have a significant negative effect on humans. To the person who lives, not leaves, but lives in that environment. Well, it depends on what exactly you mean by non-attachment. If it means not attaching to humans, that would be hard. Because if you don't get attached to a person you love, then what's the point? I mean, you can't love someone without being attached to them. Am I right? If it's strictly speaking about attachment, being attached to material things, to objects, I can understand that. Some people are overly attached to certain items, like their cars. For example, I love my car. That goes without saying. But if I see a scratch on my car, I'm not gonna go crazy, you know? It's just a car. I bought it with money. I'm gonna sell it in the future. It does hold sentimental value for many reasons, but it's just an object at the end of the day. So I can understand that we shouldn't feel overly attached to such items, but when it comes to other humans, I do believe we should form strong bonds. It's psychologically proven. Yeah, I believe so. I don't have any doubts about it. But people have different beliefs, different ideologies, to each their own, as we always say. All the comments are saying the original poster is not the asshole, so I think we can conclude today's session with that. So if you keep a box for a long time and you think about throwing it away, you wouldn't be an asshole, but you should still consider donating it, selling it, doing something useful instead of just tossing it out into the into the dumpster. Folks in the chat, do you have any final questions for me? I'll be waiting for those. Do I have any nice pictures for you for the end of this session? A cute cat. A cute cat. And a cute dog. Let's keep it balanced so everybody's satisfied. Look at those precious faces. I mean, how can somebody not like these animals? They're so lovely. Ooh, a good boy and a good girl. Though this one looks more like a male cat. Look at the size of that head. Really adorable. Ooh, babies. And don't forget, they don't have mustache, they have whiskers. So the hair growing next to their noses is called whiskers. Both dogs and cats have them, though they're more visible on cats' faces, on their heads, because probably due to the proportions. So cats are usually smaller. Oh, look at the guy. It looks kind of like my dog, the one I have in the village. My dog's breed is a Alpine Dutch Hound. Alpine Dutch. How do I spell Dutch Hound? Dutch Hound. I'm not sure. Dutch Hound, like this. But yeah, this is my dog's breed. He kind of looks like that. Yeah. I could see him in this picture. That's pretty much my dog from the village. For me, keepsakes are the most valuable things for my late parents. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You need to keep the memory alive. That is very beautiful, Magdalena. And like I said, when it comes to people with whom you share a direct link, with whom you are related through blood, especially your parents and grandparents, it's a completely different story and something much more valuable and much more intimate. Once I grow up, mango plants, I grew, not grow up. Once I grew a mango plant, and I used to look after it. One day, my siblings just nip it on top, and I got furious and I expressed my emotions because it wasn't the end. And I suppressed. So you kept them inside. You suppressed your emotions. That was good. No, that is excellent, Parveen, because your siblings are more important than your mango. Obviously, you should scold them, explain that what they did was wrong, but you shouldn't get overly angry and cause drama just because they ruined your mango. Your brothers and sisters come first. The breed is called salchicha sausage. Yeah. The sausage dog, especially the classic Dutch Hound. This one. This is the real sausage dog. They're super cute. Absolutely. One of my favorite breeds. And they're crazy good hunters. That is the funny thing. Like when you look at this dog, you might think, oh, it's just a nice little pet, household pet. But guys, these are serious hunters. They are really, really good at chasing down, tracking down prey. So if you go hunting for some things like raccoons or some, like, I don't know, rabbits, those animals that hide in holes, this will be your best friend. My brother is a passionate hunter. That's why I'm familiar with hunting breeds. And this is definitely one of them, Dutch Hounds. Folks, like I said, do you have any final questions? I believe that you don't, since I haven't seen any, but I'll wait a minute or two more just to make sure. My favorite animal is a cow. What about you, sir? My favorite animal. Hum. It's a good question. The standard answer would be, cats. I like cats. They're really incredible. I've always had cats at home. I still have a cat in the village. His name is Titsko. So, I think cats have got to be my favorite animal. But then, like, hedgehogs are cute. Hedgehogs are really nice. They're really lovely. I'm also fond of pigs, believe it or not. I feel like, unfortunately, we eat them a lot, but pigs are generally cute in my opinion, and they're very smart. They have this reputation of being very dirty and stupid, but it's only because we keep them in such environments. Pigs are much smarter than we give them credit for. So yes, a hedgehog, a pig, and obviously the king of all kings, cats. I don't think so because I think they aren't fast. You mean Dutch hounds? I'm not sure about their speed exactly, but they are good hunters. I mean, they are very popular. So if you search for like Dutch hound hunting, yeah, there they are. There they are. I mean, this is a little bit graphic. I don't know what this animal is, but that's a good picture. But yeah, Dutch hounds are definitely, yeah, there are some rabbits caught by Dutch hounds, so they are good hunters, believe me. Oh wait, I saw another one. Oh, look at this. They caught a rabbit. I mean, I know this would be graphic for some of you people, but that's just what hunting is about. I don't know. Do you guys support hunting? That's the final question of the night. Do you guys condone hunting. To condone means to allow something to happen, not try to stop something. Like I personally, I can condone hunting because my brother is a passionate hunter, and even though it's not my cup of tea, I can't imagine shooting at a rabbit like this. As long as you do it legally, I think, hunting is okay. Yeah, I mean, for example, these wild hogs, these wild pigs can cause a lot of damage to farmers. They can eat their crops and so on. So sometimes hunting is necessary. It is for the good. Poaching is illegal hunting. Poaching. Poaching is not good. So, you know, here are some pictures of like poaching some wild animals that otherwise should not be hunted. This is horrible. You shouldn't do this. But hunting as a sport, yeah, it's part of life. It's a part of life. Yes, it is. It is. That's just how life is. So, like I said, not for me. I don't enjoy that activity, but if people like it, they're free to do it. I don't concur hunting. Condone this word, to condone. So to condone, as you can see here, to treat a wrong thing as harmless or trivial. So you condone it. Concur. What was the meaning of concur? Meaning. To concur, to agree. So I concur. You can say I don't concur with hunting. You can say like that. Just add with. I don't concur with hunting. That was then a good sentence, Radek. Well done. I am a vegetarian, so I don't like to eat anything that contains eggs and meat because I feel like they are my friends. I mean, you are so lovely, Parveen. Amazing. You are able to control your urges, that human desire for meat and dairy produce, and just live a vegetarian lifestyle. That is amazing. I truly applaud you. I honestly couldn't do it. We have saved as humans. Yes, we survived. We survived as humans through hunting. That is natural. The biggest issue people have with hunting these days is that we no longer hunt to survive, to eat. We hunt for pleasure and sometimes for money, especially in the case of poaching, where people hunt protected animals, endangered animals. Like that is the dark side of it. But obviously, the only reason we are here today is because our ancestors were good hunters. Hunting should be banned. We have another opinion. I'm somewhere in the middle. I hold the middle ground. I think that hunting should be better organized. It needs to be better regulated, more regulated. But at the same time, I don't think we should outright ban it because it is an activity many people enjoy. And like I said, there are examples when hunting is really necessary, when a certain species just starts going wild and multiplying in big numbers like those wild hogs. Can you explain why just to see your view? You are asking Magdalena, I believe, not me, because I've explained my opinions so far, I'd say. Magdalena, you can go ahead and respond to that. Let us know why you believe hunting should be banned, and then we're gonna really call it a day. It's been a lovely night chatting with you guys, and I'm so happy that we had a productive session. What was the pronunciation of this again? Ephemeral. Ephemeral. Ephemeral.
Ephemeral.
Yes, there we go. I'm good at reading the phonetic transcription. So this is the short I, I, I. This is the F. Oh, you guys probably can't see it from my camera. Yeah, you can't see it. It's a shame. I'll try to put it somewhere else. No, you can't see. Unfortunately, everything that's in the top left corner is not visible to you. I'm not a professional streamer. There are some downsides to being an English teacher and not a professional content creator. Magdalena, you're probably still writing your response, I suppose, but maybe you can let us know in the next class or when you come over as guest, because my eyes are already starting to close. Oh, we got the answer. Because of the endangered species. Yes, absolutely. So poaching, which is the hunting of endangered species, needs to be. I mean, it is already illegal. That's the definition of poaching. I can put that in the chat. So poaching is the illegal hunting of captured wild animals. Poaching, illegal hunting. So poaching is by definition illegal. Now, the broader category of hunting, like I said, we should keep it legal, but regulate it more tightly. Guys, animals also have emotions, feeling the things that they can't express. That doesn't mean that their life is not worthy. Yeah, of course. We need to respect everyone's right to live. Now, if animals could hunt us, they probably would. So we also need to keep that in mind. Nature is ruthless, and you know the rules of the jungle. You're either the hunter or the prey. So you are either the one hunting or you're the one being hunted. So you need to keep that in mind, but at the same time, respect the lives of each animal and each living thing on this planet. And if we all listen to each other, I'm sure that we can find the best solution that would satisfy everyone, maintain the rights of animals, but also allow people to go out hunting like their ancestors did for thousands of years. Now, folks, I am going to call it a day. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It was an incredible session with many messages, many opinions exchanged. I'm very happy that we all kept it civil, well mannered, without any arguments, just quality discussion. If your grandparents think that way, you would not be living. No, that is too far. That is too far. We are calling it a day now. So, folks, have a good night if you're in Europe, Asia, or Africa, and have a good afternoon if you're in the Americas. Thank you so much for joining, and see you tomorrow.